Catania at NAB 2019. We're here with the OWC Radio Creative Club and this amazing artist by the name of Mike Winkleman, who you probably know as Beeple. And I happened on Beeple's art several years ago onto a site called Beeple Crap.
That is true. That is true. That is correct.
And I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's calling his art crap, and it really is some of the best stuff I've ever seen.
I appreciate that.
So tell me, what are you doing here at NAB?
So I am doing my everyday live at the Maxon booth for 3 days. This is the third day, so it's been this is the first NAB I've been to, so it's been a exhausting couple days here.
Yeah, it's never ending.
It's a lot
right?
to take in. It's a lot to take in.
Absolutely never ending. Tell people what the everydays are.
So the everydays is just a picture that I do from start to finish every single day. I've been doing it for almost 12 years. They use Cinema4D as the primary tool that I use to make the pictures each day. So that's the biggest piece of it. It's a 3D environment that you can light things and animate things and change the materials. And so I set up pictures and just try and make a picture every day.
So you've been not getting much sleep. Well, you've done this now for 12 years, nonstop, every day, thick or thin, healthy, sick, with your family, traveling,
kids,
NAB.
moving.
It's pretty amazing. I encourage everybody that's listening in to go to, what site should they go to see your art?
The Beeple Crap.
Beeplecrap.com.
.com.
And you've got your films there, you've got your art there, you've got your VJ loops.
Yep.
And that's actually how you got started, right? Doing the loops? Or
take
me way back. Come on.
It was mostly got started doing short films, and they would be stuff that not on the computer, and then I started doing that more, and then slowly I got into more sort of abstract computer generated art. And from there, then I started doing the everydays, and that's when the whole sort of 3D kind of took off for me, and sort of I learned a ton more. And then I started using cinema to, make even more complicated stuff, or stuff that I obviously couldn't do before without a 3D package.
So tell me about, now we're not standing in front of a computer, so you can't actually demonstrate, but can you talk to us about your workflow with your art?
Sure. So I guess usually the workflow is fairly straightforward. I usually just jump straight into cinema and start modeling not modeling now. I use a lot of 3D assets from places like Turbo Squid and a bunch of other places. And so I bring those in and just start moving things around and setting up a scene, blocking out things compositionally and tweaking lighting and values and stuff and color, and trying to sort of dial in a composition, something that looks interesting or just not crappy as possible. And from there I'll take it into Photoshop and do some post work, color correction, adding atmosphere, replacing skies, things like that. But the majority of it is definitely done in Cinema4D, so that's definitely the sort of workhorse. It's rendered in Octane most of the time. So that's kind of the basic overview of the workflow. I don't really sit down and sketch things out. I just sort of jump in and start building it.
You were sketching in the early days, though, right?
I did. The first year of Everydays was drawings. I did drawings for a year, and then started doing the Cinema4D stuff.
So tell me about your VJ loops or DJ loops. What are they?
VJ loops.
VJ loops.
VJ loops. They are just custom pieces of content that anybody can download to use for whatever. So a lot of VJs download them to use in their, or a lot of DJs download to use them in their sets, and so they're just abstract video, I guess, shapes and colors and stuff. And so then from there, people started sort of contacting me to do custom work. So done a bunch of stuff. I just worked on the Super Bowl this last year. So it's been cool to see the opportunities that's brought from, releasing that stuff for free.
Your work was also inspiration for a designer recently, right? There's a whole line of clothing that was inspired by your work, isn't there?
Yeah, there was they just licensed some of those everydays for the spring collection for Louis Vuitton. So that was another really cool thing to see, something I never would have expected, super random, but it was really cool to see.
So here at NAB, you're in the booth. Are you actually in the booth while you're creating these, or do you do these at your... do you bring them to the booth, or do you in the booth actually creating it in front of everybody?
I'm in the booth creating in front of I don't know, there's 50 people standing there.
Does that bother you?
Surprisingly, it didn't. I was having the people in the audience yell out crap what I should put in it and what to change stuff and oh, is this better or worse? And honestly, I have no idea how people in the audience are probably what the hell is this kid doing? But I had fun. It seemed good to me, so.
This is interactive Cinema4D. That's pretty amazing.
Kind of,
I don't know if I would have the fortitude to do that. It's I would want to go, would you leave me alone and let me create? I just want to be a creative.
But that's the thing. I think that's not taking it too serious is the biggest thing where it's sort of this is just one piece of this bigger project. So it's I think people have a tendency to take themselves way too serious with their work and how it's presented or how it's made, that it's come on, that's not, I don't know.
I think that's one of the things that people like so much about you is you don't take yourself too seriously. You're kind of like the Cinema4D equivalent of the everyman. I
don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
If John Ford
I can't even pretend to know what you're talking about right now, if I'm being honest.
Did I go over your head?
I'm being totally honest.
Come on, Mike, I went over your head. No, I think if Frank Capra made a movie about Cinema4D, you would be what I call the everyman character, the normal guy that just happens to save the world. You're going to save the world with your art.
Frank Capra, is that the guy who did It's a Wonderful Life?
Yes, and Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
I like that movie.
Can you picture yourself as the Mr.
Jimmy
Smith of Cinema4D?
Not Jimmy
there
Smith.
You go.
Jimmy Smith?
James Stewart.
James Stewart.
I actually got to meet him the first year of Sundance.
That's that. Yeah. Honestly, It's a Wonderful Life is one of my absolute favorite films. I love that film.
Yeah. Couldn't you see him in that movie? I could totally see him in that movie.
I'm not sure about that.
Maybe there's another career.
That's where you lost me. That's where you lost me.
Maybe there's another career for you as the Jimmy Stewart character in the revisitation. The reboot.
Okay, we're rebooting It's a Wonderful Life with me at the helm.
There you go.
It sounds solid. It sounds solid.
Some of your stuff has a very, I know you don't really talk about that, and tell me if I'm overstepping, but some of your stuff has a very subtle political theme to it. Maybe it's unintentional, but that Stuxnet, the short film you did about Stuxnet really hit home with me because I got hacked by that virus a few years ago and lost 250 terabytes of media, and here you are making this amazing. Talk to me about the workflow for that film, because that was a lot of work.
Yeah, that was a lot of work. It was over the course of probably a year or two. I don't even remember at this point. I think it was 2 years, actually. And the basic workflow, I guess, was modeling. It's like robots sort of moving through a tunnel, and it's kind of animated the music. And it's really synced with the music. So I was working really closely with the sound designer to have, this is this object, it makes this sound, and I'll animate this and make sure it looks good exactly with how you compose the music. So that was a pretty back and forth workflow. But otherwise, it was rendered with Octane. There was very little post. It was almost entirely like cinema. So, yeah.
So for the people who are gathering here at the booth, we have Mike Winkleman, who is probably one of the world's most famous Cinema4D artists. And he's looking at me like, would you cut it out? Stop giving me compliments. But it's true. You're very talented.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
And I think that what you do for other creatives is really important too. You know, we all need that. We need to know that we're a part of a community.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things that I really like about Cinema4D in particular, is because I think they do a lot to foster a strong community. The leadership does. They really they're out at events and they're talking to you and trying to get your feedback on stuff. So I think they're really receptive to the community and really plugged in and know what's what people are looking for. I think especially with the Redshift thing, I think that's something a lot of people are oh yeah, in retrospect, that makes a lot of sense. That seems like a good move or something that sort of is a good fit for them. So I think they're really plugged into the community of designers.
So for those of you who we lost a moment ago, we're at NAB 2019. So the wireless and the internet connection here. I'm going to remain a lady, and I'm not going to describe it the way I would really like to describe it, because it basically sucks. So once in a while, the signal drops out. But we were talking a moment ago about Cinema4D and how they support creatives. How long have you been involved in actually speaking with the people that created Cinema4D?
Probably 4 years. I would say that I've been talking more and sort of going back and forth. And to be honest, I don't talk to them that much because they know what they're doing. And it's sort of awesome. The tool works great for me. It's great to see them out at these events and stuff, but it's not like I'm constantly oh, here, can you fix this or whatever. For me, it works beautifully. I don't really need any sort of help for them or anything. But yeah, they are just such supporters of everybody in the community that it's, so awesome to see.
Yeah. So we spoke with Paul Babb.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
And I believe his interview's already running. It's up on the blog, I believe. But is there anything that you can think of in the new release of Cinema4D that you might want to talk about, or is that sort of, you don't worry about it?
There is one thing. I've been super slow to upgrade just because I'm just been lazy. There's not that much of it. I'm not gonna lie. I've just been lazy. But the Alembic retiming, there's you can bring in Alembic files, which are just sort of geometry and animation and everything kind of flattened into one file. And you can retime how fast it moves through the scene and with curves and fall offs and everything. So that I think is a really powerful feature that I think I'll really use a lot. And
especially
the volume stuff. I mean, there's tons of stuff.
In your next film. Do you know what your next film's going to be?
Yeah, I have one almost entirely done. I just need to edit the pieces together. It's 95% there. I just need to get it done.
Have it born. Can you tell us what it's about? Or is it going to be a surprise?
It's about money.
It's about money?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be
That's all
interesting.
I'm gonna say.
That'll be interesting. So the next one's about money. The last one was about the Stuxnet virus called 0 Day, and the next one's about money. Well, when do you think you're going to have it done? Don't ask.
You're killing me here.
Cirina, stop. Don't ask.
You're killing me here. No, I don't know. Probably a month, I would say. Hopefully a month. I'm going to set a month or two. 2 months. 2 months. 2 months.
I hate when people ask me when my films are
2 months.
Okay, are we
2
timing
months.
this?
July 1st.
When people
July
ask me
1st,
when
I'm gonna
my
have it done by then.
documentaries are going to be finished, I hate that. I don't ask me when my film's going to be finished. Yeah, so because this is radio and we can't see what you've been doing in the booth, I will try to get some pictures. Can you describe the art visually for us that you've been creating the last couple days? What are the images about?
Weird. Well, that's because I'm calling on the audience, so it's pancake. Well, the first day, I had another guy pick out a bunch of assets. So he loaded them into Cinema4D, loaded them into the content browser. The content browser is something that I think people take for granted, and it's something that's a great feature. It's super easy to just drop things in. So he loaded up 10 assets, 10 3D models that he downloaded, and I didn't know what they were, and that's what I had to make my picture.
Oh my
with.
God, are you serious?
So it was pancakes, a like baby orangutan, a like
Are you
grandma.
serious?
Yeah, so that's what. So the picture is like a grandma like standing on pancakes with like a pilgrim hat and squid arms, like with pills all over the ground. I don't even know.
I mean, you didn't
Like,
do that the second day, though, did you?
No, then the second day I just had people in the audience like shout out crap. So that's like a gorilla with like a bunch of wolves around a naked baby on like a pile of rubble with like helicopters in the back. Right? It's also
Okay, so I think these people are trying to trip you up.
I,
That's kind of you know, they're
the
trying.
buck has to stop with me. I am the one at the computer.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like a little bit of okay. Let's see what we can throw at him and see if he'll screw it up. And you didn't, though.
I don't know.
You didn't.
It's
so-
not. It is what it is. There's no way to screw it up.
Yeah, but you got to tell
There's
me.
doing
that-
it or not doing it. That's it.
And it's more fun though when it comes from your brain, right? Wouldn't you say?
I
or
don't
do you
know
care?
about that.
No.
It came from everybody's brain. Everybody put the ideas into it.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
what I thought was fun.
So you have to go back and you have to do another one today.
I have to do another one in a couple hours here.
Oh my God. I want to go over there and see it if I possibly can.
Come over. It's a good
Yeah.
time. I'm gonna call on you. I will call on you, and you'll
Call
have
me
to
and
like have an idea. Like that's why I was like singling out people like
Okay.
you. Tell me what to do, and they'd be like, "No, what?" And I'm like, "No, I'm looking at you. Tell me what to do." And they'd be
Yeah.
like, "Okay."
You know, everybody thinks creativity is easy. And maybe it's not. It's not. It's very demanding in your life, I'm sure. I don't know how you do it every day.
I would say it's not that hard. I mean, I could think of a lot of jobs that are harder than what I do every day, sitting at a computer, listening to music. Like, yeah, let's just okay. That's not exactly the worst job.
Oh my God! So
Chatting
what
with
is
friends.
what's a question that you've never been asked in an interview that you might want to talk about? I mean, like when is this interview over? You know what's funny is I know you
don't know
don't.
any questions.
You don't like to be interviewed, and I don't blame you. I don't like to be
I don't
interviewed
mind it,
either.
honestly.
No?
Does it seem like I don't like it?
No.
I don't mind it. I'm
That's
fine.
awesome. That's
No.
awesome. Well, I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people. And I think that you have such a community spirit about you. That's really
I appreciate
important.
that.
And you're a family guy in the middle of it all.
Yep, we have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, so
And I
it's
know
a full
that
house. It's a
I
full
know
house.
that the family has to kind of step aside sometimes, and you know you don't do these things in 5 minutes.
No, I work long hours, but I think that's where I'm lucky with my family that they're home, and my wife stays home with the kids. So, okay, I'm just going to. So I'm able to still see the kids a ton because it's like, you know, we have dinner together and breakfast together and lunch together because I'm right there. And
That's
like,
awesome.
they need to get put down for a nap. I'm right there to like, you know,
That's
put them down
awesome.
for a nap and stuff. So even though I work long hours, like if I was out at the office, I couldn't do that because
No.
I would never see them.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm there and just they can open the door and come in and draw and like, you know, watch something in the office, and they're old enough to not like go, you know, when I need time to get something done, like they're good about that too. So, yeah.
I was with mine too. After I left the studio, I was freelance. A lot of times when I wasn't traveling, I was home. It makes a difference.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
I think
it's
now
definitely-
that they're grown up, they were around their mom a lot. I think your kids are going to grow up and they're going to appreciate that
Oh,
you
yeah, I
loved
w-
them enough to build a life that included them in what you do.
Well, it's hard that, like, my daughter doesn't even understand the concept of, like, going to work. Like, if I'll just go somewhere, it's like, where are you going? Because it's like, Daddy never leaves the computer. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I think it's, they don't really even fully understand, like, that most people, like, go to work because my wife, you know, is home, too. So it's like, everybody's parents just stay home all the time.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
So I'm sure a lot of people ask you, how can I do what you do? How can I get involved in what you do?
Starting every day. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I think it's that structure and that, like, just kind of forcing you to do something and put out something will, like, level you up faster than any other way I know. So, I don't know. That's my
Just keep
Take.
doing it. doing it as best you can. Don't judge yourself. Just keep doing it.
Well, if you
every
commit
day.
to doing it, then none of the other stuff really matters. You just have to do it, and
Right.
you'll get better. If you like it, great. If you don't, doesn't really matter as long as you did it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the attitude I have, I guess,
Yeah.
most of the time.
Well, it's nice to meet you, and
Very nice to meet you, and I
I wanna-
appreciate the opportunity to talk.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here, and I'm very appreciative of Cinema4D for everything they do for all of us. And I want to thank OWC Radio for sponsoring this show, and Lumberjack and Puget. And a shout out to creatives. And what I always say is get up off your chair and do something wonderful today. This is Cirina Catania with OWC Radio's Creative Club at NAB 2019. And I'm here with Mike Winkleman, better known as Beeple. And we're talking about his
up?
great work. Thank you so much for
Thank you for
taking
having
the
me.
time.
Thank you.
It's
I
nice to
appreciate
meet
that.
you.
Thank you.